Hey guys, today I'm going to review the 1990 slasher film, The Night Brings Charlie. This was distributed by Quest Entertainment, and I love the name of this movie, The Night Brings Charlie. It's not your typical slasher film or horror film name. It doesn't have massacre or blood in the title, it's just interesting. It's probably one of the reasons why this movie wasn't successful in the video market. A problem I have with the box, though, is the artwork. The artwork is really lame. All you see is a dark, shadowy figure. We don't get to see... We know he has something on his head, but we don't even get to see his face. I mean, even with the mask on. And in one of his hands, in his left hand, he has a bloody saw. But we hardly get to see the saw. You only see the saw if you look closely. The box art's really boring. The name's logo, it looks really cool. I like how they put the logo on the box. On the back of the box, it's rated EM for extremely mature by the Film Advisory Board rating system. I guess they couldn't afford or found there was no reason to really get the MPAA to rate their movie. Even if it had been rated by the MPAA, it would only get like maybe an R rating because there is nothing in this movie that would make it unrated. It's not as grotesque or gory as maybe Friday the 13th or something like that, so don't expect to be fooled by these fake ratings. Also, the fake rating is interesting because it's trademarked as if it were an actual rating system. Sometimes when I do these reviews, I have a really tough time doing them. There's been movies I've been trying to review, but I have just a hard time talking about it because it's such a bland movie. There's nothing interesting to talk about. This is one of those movies, kind of. There's not much that really happens in this movie. We have this guy who's hacking up people. We only see one gruesome death, and that's, I think, is the second death, where we see a saw blade and it cuts into someone's neck. And that's the most graphic scene in the movie. The rest of the movie, a lot of the death scenes are off screen, like when someone's about to die, it'll cut away, or we just pretty much see the aftermath of the death. That's pretty much it gore-wise. That's all you're going to get from this movie. It is a slasher film by definition, but don't expect it to be a graphic slasher film. The back of the box, with the EM rating, like I said, is misleading, so don't be fooled by that. So every night, we got some of these kids that are dropping down, they're dying. Just a couple of them, not many. And pretty much our lead, the actress that we're following the whole time, is a young girl. Her father is a sheriff. He hires some guy named Charlie, one of his war buddies, they were in the Korean War together, to trim his trees for him. Everybody in town knows him, and he wears a sack over his head with swimming goggles. I guess people are used to seeing him because everyone says hi to him and has no problem with it. After the second death scene, the cops come to the scene and they do a whole investigation, and they get one of the witnesses that was there. Cops are asking the kid, is there anything else you remember? And the kid says, you know what, actually I do remember. I just remembered something. There was a guy wearing a mask hiding behind some bushes. And I thought, well, that's extremely strange. How would you forget something obvious like that? A guy wearing a mask behind some bushes. The most interesting character in the movie probably isn't even a main character. It's just some fat chick and like a secretary in the police station who has these stupid one-liners. I guess they're supposed to be funny, they're really not, but at least it adds some flavor, I guess, to the dialogue, because most of the dialogue is pretty bland. So in one of the scenes, Charlie's walking down the sidewalk. He has hedge clippers in his hand, and he's approaching somebody. And because of the murders, they see Charlie, and they're like, stop! They take him in, because I guess they suspect him of the murders. Charlie won't talk, but he'll talk to another officer, his buddy. So he goes in there to talk to Charlie, and he gets a statement from Charlie. And then later we realize that, something's strange about this. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Because if Charlie can't talk, how are you able to get him to talk? So now we think there's some kind of connection between one of these officers, which is the father of our main lead actress. So once one of the officers realized there's something weird about this, how is he able to get a statement from Charlie but not me? He won't talk to me. And then they find out, well, Charlie's mute. He doesn't even talk. Now it's even more suspicious. They let Charlie go because now they have no evidence to keep him. They think it's this other guy, this other officer. And they set up a trap for him and they find him. They get this other officer and he's dressed up as Charlie. And the officer who catches him is like, aha, I got you, and we knew it had to be you. And this is halfway through the movie. Sometimes you could tell the direction of the movie just by the duration of the movie, what part of the movie you're in. If it's 40 minutes in and they found the killer, then you know something's weird. Something's not right. Unless it's a short movie, but this is a feature-length movie, so you know that there's more to this story. That's when the officer who's posing as Charlie says, you know what, yeah, I killed the first two girls, but I didn't kill the other ones. And when you do find out that this sheriff, I guess, this officer was posing as Charlie as the killer, you go back and you question, why would he kill his daughter's best friend in the beginning of the movie? Just doesn't make sense. She seemed like a decent chick, I guess, because she's taking her out to parties, I don't know. So they keep the imposter Charlie in their office, and they're about to interrogate him while the other officers are out to get the real Charlie, because now they're both killers. What I find interesting is that they don't handcuff the imposter Charlie. He killed 2 kids. And you're not going to handcuff him? He's a murderer. He admits that he killed these 2 girls. So what happens is he's in the office talking to the officer, and then I don't remember what he does, but he like punches out the officer behind the desk, and he just leaves the station. And it's like, well, duh, what'd you expect? I mean, he's guilty of killing 2 people. Of course he's just not going to stay there. So now we cut to the real officers out, and they're trying to find the real Charlie, and they go to a barn, and while they're doing this, Charlie finds more victims, and they're these motocross people. They're on dirt bikes, and they're just, riding dirt bikes in the dark. They eventually catch up to who they think is Charlie in the barn, and they shoot Charlie, and they take the mask off, and they realize it was the father. Now I'm thinking, why? If he knows that they're out to kill Charlie, why would you dress up as Charlie again and go to the barn? They're going to shoot you. It doesn't make sense. This movie doesn't make any logical sense. So what happens now? They all think that Charlie is the imposter guy was doing all the killings, because no one actually saw Charlie's face. The killer was done in a mask, and the only person they found killing people in the mask was the imposter. So they pretty much let Charlie go based on that fact. And it's not too bad a movie. It's not entertaining. When I say it's not too bad a movie, I mean it's not put together too badly. I don't think this movie was meant to be taken seriously. This movie came in at the end of the second slasher cycle. It was 1990, so at the end of the second slasher cycle, a lot of the movies were just reflecting back on the slasher elements. For example, there's one moment right after Charlie kills somebody. You know how towns have a welcome sign? He goes to the sign and he has like a crayon or something, and he marks down the population one because he had just killed somebody. That's not a serious moment. I don't think you're meant to take this movie seriously. And people have to realize sometimes people make movies just because they enjoy the filmmaking process. They don't expect to get rich off of these movies, especially if it's a direct-to-video release. Some people just enjoy making movies. So when a movie like this gets bad reviews, and like, why would anybody make a piece of crap like this? Well, because some people actually enjoy making movies. Whether it's a good movie or not, some people enjoy it. And if you can get distribution, why not? So, yeah, that's The Night Brings Charlie. Some people say this is a shot-on-video film. I watched it, and it does feel really glossy at times, and it might be a shot-on-video film. But don't go into this movie expecting a consumer camcorder movie, kind of like Cannibal Campout or Splatter Farm. It doesn't feel like a homemade movie. Maybe they shot it with, like, some kind of fancy Betacam. Maybe, like, I don't know, it feels like a TV movie almost, so maybe it is shot on a video. But when I do watch it, I do notice film dust, which you would typically get on the film stock in the camera. So I don't know, maybe it is shot on video, I can't tell. Most of the characters in the movie are really bland characters. The movie itself seemed to be put together fairly well. It's not a bad movie. When I go online and read reviews about this movie, they bash this movie, saying it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I'm thinking, if this is the worst movie you've ever seen, you haven't seen a lot of slasher movies. Because out of all the movies I review, I'd probably put this in the top 5, as in how well it was put together. But yeah, that's pretty much The Night Brings Charlie. And this has been Paul with another VHS review. Look forward to my other ones. I got a whole friggin' stack of movies. I've been putting them aside, which movies I want to review, because I've been packing up some of my movies in boxes just to save room. So look forward to more. I hope to do a bunch more. So that's it. So have a good night.